read. Oh gee, I'm so bored, only if I had a game to review.
Before I begin, I want to start by saying, yes, I understand at this point the game is rather old news. It came out almost 2 years ago, and I'm pretty sure by now you've seen several other reviews of the game. This in mind, I suppose my main intention is just to bring a new perspective to the table when regarding this game. Is it as good as everyone says? Well, yeah, I mean, no, but I mean, Let's find out. I do have to say, this game feels more fan service than anything else. I don't mean that in a bad way. Sonic always seems to have some idiotic gimmick that drives the production of his games. Whether it be some lucky charms, marshmallows that give you power, or that, it's been made blatantly obvious Sega doesn't give two shits when making a Sonic game, but rather they want to make a third-person shooter or a brawler featuring Sonic. Expectingly, the Sonic fanboys are all, Sonic's stupid now. They just don't make him like Sonic R anymore. And Sega's all like, no, don't grieve. We make Sonic really cool again, we promise. Look, we even brought back the 90s Sonic, and we made him right brew. And we make a contrast between the cooler Brackman Sonic. So yeah, no gimmicks, no marshmallows, just Sonic. And, Sonic. Wait a second, that's a gimmick. So the game starts out and Sonic's friends throw him just about the lamest surprise party I've ever seen. But it's okay, because Sonic gets a chili dog for his birthday present. You know, even though there's like 50 more on the table. That's like if someone gave you $20 for your birthday, but then also gave everyone who attended the party an $80 gift card to Best Buy. Which is pretty much $20 everywhere else, but you know. So in the midst of all their fun, I guess, this thing that's never really explained comes out of nowhere and makes the series better. Or, I mean, gets rid of Sonic's friends. And sends Sonic to Purgatory, or something. I don't know. And now he has to relive his past and run fast to save time, including all matter as we know it, or something. Look, I don't even know, and frankly, neither does anyone else. I'm pretty sure I'll have a few people leaving comments claiming that they do know what's going on, but since those people would even bother explaining this shit will be Sonic fans, they'll probably just be getting the plot confused with some Sonic fanfiction they wrote a few weeks ago. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter. It's just a sloppy excuse to not think of any new stages, but rather recycle old ones. Which I'm actually okay with, because the stages are designed fairly well. But we'll get to that later. So the game is rather straightforward, and after all of this, it's honestly a breath of fresh air. You can access all the levels via a little hub within the realms of Purgatory World, I guess. Typically people bitch about level hubs in Sonic games, but there's not really much to complain about here. Honestly, I like it. It's simplistic, but it works. And there's even a bit of exploration to be done above the level entrances. You can also talk to Sonic's friends here, but I think there's a bat trying to seduce me here, and then there's this guy. It looks like the f***ing Honey Nut Cheerios bee. Anyways, each stage has two acts, one featuring Classic Sonic and the other featuring Modern Sonic. Classic Sonic stages are a bit more heavy on platforming, while Modern Sonic stages are more closely related to that of a racing game. But no matter who you're playing as, there is controller delay up the ass. And honestly, that doesn't go quite hand in hand in the game where you're moving 100 miles an hour. And to make matters worse, it always pans Sonic to the center of the screen. And why are we so zoomed in here? How does the game expect me to play through this stage successfully without playing it a few times prior? This problem is more apparent in Modern Sonic stages, but regardless, it's an issue that persists throughout the whole game. What are we doing here? Modern Sonic has the amazing power of acknowledging the Z-axis. Why are we squandering such an amazing talent? I mean, that's not to say Modern Sonic's 2D sections are bad, but I mean, it just, at times it feels a bit out of place. And also, why does Modern Sonic stages have so many platforming sections in the later levels? I don't mind them, but the transition is horrible. Here I am hitting triple digits, and here I am coming to a sudden halt. I almost feel like Sega does this to add difficulty to Modern Sonic stages. But there are so many other ways to make a stage hard than just throwing me in a vicinity consisting only of tiny-ass platforms. These are okay for Classic Sonic, but when I try to do them as Modern Sonic, I simply can't. And I'm not sure if this is due to the insane speed I was just ongoing, or if it's due to Modern Sonic's slippery controls. But whatever the case, these sections are a bit tedious. However, when Sonic Generations gets the gameplay and level design right, it really gets it fucking right. These are arguably some of the best stages in any Sonic game, regardless of them all being reimaginings of prior ones. I love being able to rev up to a ball and destroy countless entities as Classic Sonic, and I love drifting around tight corners as Modern Sonic. There's a lot of variation in the gameplay here, and it's all pretty good. Some of the level design present in Sonic Generations is absolutely ingenious, ranging from escaping trucks the size of goddamn buildings to trying to keep high elevation to avoid falling in the... God damn it! Additionally to the ingeniously crafted levels, I really must point out how beautiful the game is aesthetically. There is so much detail in the environments, and it just looks that much better when you're flying by them at incredible speeds. Textures look very crisp and vivid, and the game as a whole has a very clean look to it. For example, look at the lighting. Look how much attention went to the terrain in the background. Even a lot of minor visual cues add a lot to the overall presentation, such as how the borders of the screen will blur when you use modern Sonic's boost, or how platforms submerged in water will treble from water currents. The music is also very enjoyable, incorporating classic and modern renditions from all the playable stages, and hearing City Escape as it presumably would have sounded many years prior is honestly pretty awesome. Kind of idiotic, but awesome. But then there's unnecessary alteration regarding the game's flow. Yes, I'm looking at U-boss battles. They seem more like a chore than anything else, and only a handful of them are actually enjoyable. And don't get me started on the final boss. Arguably the worst final boss in any Sonic game to date.
Sonic, switch with the triangle button. Careful, Sonic!
It's so poorly executed. They never really explain what to do, and no, I'm not expecting the game to tell me every little detail about how to kill the thing, but I would have liked to know at least how the controls work. Hell, I still don't really understand. Like, sometimes you can catch up to him, and then other times you just can't. He stays at a fixed distance away from you, and I just don't get it. Excluding the boss battles and a few of the missions, however, the game is enjoyable all the way throughout. But then we run into our next issue of the game, the length. I achieved the Platinum Trophy for this game in 4 days after purchasing it, and I wasn't even playing it all too much. You can actually reach the final boss in just a few hours, and the length of the game itself is probably Sonic Generation's biggest setback. Luckily, the game actually has quite a lot of replay value. There are multiple missions to endure, some very interesting concept art to observe. Seriously, look at this crap, this is awesome. And even a fully playable version of Sonic 1 for the Genesis. And aside from all the additional content, I put the game in time to time just to replay some of the very clever and inspired stages available in Sonic Generations. So what's the final deduction of Sonic Generations? While rather short, it's a very enjoyable game and actually one of Sonic's best titles. The game is absolutely gorgeous, and the level design is creative and surprisingly fresh. Yeah, the story's a bit idiotic, but it's rather downplayed, and while the boss fights are a bit of a burden, it doesn't ultimately distract from the game as a whole. I can't say the game is worth full retail price, but if you can find it for $20 or so, it's definitely worth your time. Sonic Generations receives a 4 out of 5 with the label of Inspired.